Hello, my name is Paul Stewart and I'm in the Qatar Lounge at Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, where we're about to test out their first class product through to Doha.
The journey began at check-in, which was basic but did the job. Airlines usually reserve their lavish premium check-in areas for their home ports, so make sure you check out my flight out of Doha after this one. I went straight through security, and then close by was Qatar's own premium lounge shared with business and first class passengers, which only opened in late 2017. As with the Al Safa Lounge in Doha, it's not open to passengers holding status with One World Alliance Airlines, so you actually have to be flying in business or first with Qatar. Because of these strict rules, it was actually really quiet and remained so until my flight. There's plenty of places to sit, and there were power plugs everywhere. For the two people left in the world that don't carry a laptop, there's computers or a decent collection of magazines and newspapers. But having skipped breakfast, I was hungry, so I headed off to the restaurant. As well as table service with a small a la carte menu, there was quite a good buffet. There's a bar with barista coffee, which of course will be delivered to your table. Because it was Ramadan, the booze was all hidden, but still available. Service in this lounge was really fantastic. As soon as I entered, they could see that I was taking photos and was given a tour. Service was friendly and really prompt. As I said before, because business class is so good these days, the difference between it and first class is that little bit extra that makes you feel special, and I felt special. Which is something my pediatrician used to say about me. Then it was on to dessert. Unfortunately, the flight was last month and I can't remember what this was, but it tasted fun. And of course, more champagne and coffee, which goes together a treat. There's two outdoor areas where, if you're not a ginger, you can enjoy some sunlight, aviation fuels, and cigarettes. Actually, this was a non-smoking one, so it was just sunburn and aviation fuel. After a hard time sitting, eating, and drinking, I headed for one of the 4 shower rooms. As I said before, there weren't many other passengers, so I didn't have to wait at all. And after being completely confused by the shower, it was time to head to the departure gate and check out the Airbus A380 that would be flying me to Doha.
Thank you. This one?
The Qatar Airways A380 only has a small first-class cabin with 8 seats in a 1-2-1 layout. As always, I prefer a window seat and usually towards the back of the cabin, as I'm keen to get a view of the wing and the engine, which it's always nice to know is still there. Shortly after taking my seat, olives and cheese, an amenity kit, and yes, I'll be giving that away later, either a warm or cool towel, and drinks were brought around. Due to them avoiding some customs duties, there was no champagne until the wheels left the ground, which seems a bit tight to me, so I had to drink something called water. The crew, who on this flight were fantastic, came around and introduced themselves and asked how I'd like to plan my meals. I'll mention this again later when I show you the menus. Now, let's go through seat 2A in more detail. I stole this footage from another flight I did, as I missed a few things. At the front of the seat is a storage place for coats and a few other thin things. Now, storage is an issue with no overhead lockers or any enclosed cubby holes in that area just below the windows. Crews can store objects in cupboards up at the front, although often I like to have things within arm's reach or at least where I can see them to make sure no one's running off with my stuff. On the aisle side, you've got an adjustable privacy screen which either gives you some or essentially no privacy. This strip of silver is the seat adjustments, and more detailed seat adjustments can be found in this handpiece under the armrest. Noise cancelling headphones are also hidden in here, as well as USB ports and power plugs. Now we'll head over to the other side where there's a bottle of water and a remote for the in-flight entertainment that's hidden inside the armrest. Above that is a storage spot for the safety card and in-flight magazine, and just behind you and attached to the seat is a small reading lamp. Here's buttons to open and close the window blinds. I'm a massive fan of these and hope that Boeing bring them back in the 777X, as the magic dimming ones in the Dreamliner don't really work in direct sunlight, but I digress. Here's a cocktail ledge and of course a massive fold-away table. And as I always like to point out, the table slides forward and you're able to escape your seat even if the table is set. Ahead of you is a lamp, and next to that is another power plug. Of course, there's a large screen in front of you, and below that is a ledge that doubles as a companion seat, as there is a seatbelt there, a footrest, and it also joins up with your seat when it folds flat to make a rather impressive and large bed. Now if you're travelling with a companion, it's probably best that you sit in the middle seats where the central divider can be lowered. Let's have a closer look at this amenity kit. Unfortunately, as it was a day flight, well, we arrived in Doha at midnight, there were no PJs provided. I'll be giving away this kit with a few bits from a business class kit to replace what I used myself, and I'll mention details of that competition later in the video. Now I really love this tradition that Middle Eastern airlines have of offering Arabic coffee and a date before takeoff. They go really well together, a bit like champagne and coffee, like earlier. As the 4 Engine Alliance GP7000 engines powered up, I thought it was a good time to check out this facial mist I'd found in my Manzi kit. Always best to remove your glasses too, and I suppose it made my face fresh and stuff. I'm more comfortable talking about engines.
And with me the flight deck, my colleague Mr. Noah Sogniat. On behalf of Captain Arlis and the crew, I would like to welcome you on board our flight 040 bound to Doha Hamad International. Our flight time today will be 5 hours 15 minutes, and we shall be cruising at altitude 39,000 feet. Weather conditions en route, expecting a generally smooth flight with some light bumpiness.
Once the seatbelt sign was off, the proper drinks were served, including warm nuts. This particular drop was Cru 2004 Vintage, which is probably one of the best champagnes in the sky. It's certainly one of the most expensive, and a bottle costs around 400 Australian dollars. Now I'll also run through the menus, and as requested by a lot of subscribers, I'll go through them slower. If you're not interested, skip ahead to around 11.5 minutes. Now the food is completely on demand. You can have whatever you want, whenever you want it. As I had high expectations, I had starved myself that day and was keen to keep the cook busy. Lunch began with a prawn roll and mixed vegetables, followed by caviar, more crew, and some Family Guy. Now I should point out that caviar was served with pearl spoons, which someone on the internet said is far better than normal spoons. So, good job, Qatar. Now this was all served with a rather unique looking glass of sparkling water, a glass of what I found out was vodka instead of water after a mouthful, and crew. I thought I'd have a break from the champagne and try out a 2005 St Clair Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. Mostly so that I could say something witty about our Kiwi friends from across the ditch. But I can't think of anything other than a bad attempt at their accent. Now I was in a mood to burn off some calories, so I went for a walk. Here's some rather majestic stairs right at the front, which I guess you'd walk up to enter the first class cabin if there was a single aero bridge only linking to the lower level. There's 2 large bathrooms for first class, and as you'd imagine, I never had to wait. They're pretty massive, although don't have the shower that you'll find in an Emirates or Etihad A380. Now since I tried the facial mist with such dramatic levels of success, I thought I'd try the body mist spray thing as well. Now I thought I'd see if the spray works at the onboard bar, which is shared with business class passengers. There's heaps of nibbles available and drinks prepared by the bartender who'd hidden behind the counter. Here's the cocktails and mocktails available in addition to the drinks list you've already seen. I ended up selecting an orange lime relaxer before raiding the self-serve cupboard at the front of first class. Then I settled down and enjoyed the view of thousands of oil fields. We were around 90 minutes north of Doha, so I had some 1992 Grand Cruz Port from Portugal and a cheese plate. Some chocolates were brought around, and wet towels once again. I didn't show it before, but of course the seat folds completely flat. There's a turn down service where an extra mattress is added, although I didn't need it for this shorter flight. Now there was free Wi-Fi, although it was incredibly slow and essentially useless. Instagram took minutes to load, so I gave up. Now to summarise my flight and give details about the amenity kit giveaway. The in-flight entertainment was perfectly fine, the screen itself was good quality and the interface was reasonably intuitive. The content was also reasonable, kept me entertained, and there weren't long advertisements before each movie. The service during the entire flight was really good. Lisa was the main flight attendant looking after me and she was fantastic. Dylan was in charge and he came around regularly to ensure I was having a good flight. The attention to detail was really good, with Lisa even changing the entire tablecloth after I spilled some food. I was made to feel really special. The food and drink was also really good and served and removed promptly. I can't but help think that it's a bit tight that alcohol isn't served on the ground in Paris. I understand they have to pay duties on it, but this is first class. Now the seat itself is a mixed bag. There's no doubt that it's comfortable and it's really spacious. I should also point out that while Qatar's regular reverse herringbone business seat looks great, you really don't appreciate how much bigger these seats are until you see the two of them together. The new Q Suites are also a great business seat and obviously offer better privacy, but they're nowhere near as spacious as these first class seats. I guess that's the trade-off with these seats, is the limited privacy. I'm honestly not that worried, but if you really don't want anyone to see you, it's not great. Other airlines, such as Cathay and Qantas, angle their first class seats inwards so that, even though they don't have doors either, you're angled away from other passengers. But my biggest concern was the lack of storage. I ended up having to store my bag and computer on the floor near my feet, which seems somewhat economy. But overall, it was a really great flight and made especially good by a wonderful crew. Now, as with other videos, I'm giving away the Amanda kit. I should note that I've used some of it, so I'll replace things like the eye covers from a kit I got from business class. I'll discuss that further with the actual winner. To enter the giveaway, simply comment below and include the hashtag #AmenityKit, and in 30 days I'll randomly select a winner using a number generator. More details of this competition are in the video description below. Now don't end the video too early, as I briefly visited the Arrivals Lounge in Doha. Also, after the video, make sure you check out my Instagram and Facebook page, and my channel for heaps of other aviation videos, including a detailed review of the Al Safra First Class Lounge at Doha and my flight from Doha to Sydney.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the state of Qatar. Your gateway to the world. The local time now is 11:15 in the evening.
Unfortunately, the Arrivals Lounge was closed due to maintenance, so they sent me to another lounge where I got some nibbles before heading off to my hotel. I suppose having access to a shower on arrival somewhat makes up for not having one of these on board the aircraft, like with Emirates and Etihad. As with all of the Qatar lounges, it was quite empty and the service was fantastic. Anyway, that is the end of the video. Make sure you click the like button if you enjoyed it and ask any questions below. Thanks for watching, and by the way, if you see me at an airport, make sure you come up and say hello. I usually don't bite, and I may be able to get you into one of the lounges.